What I'm about to tell you might resonate with you or will resonate with you, because these are things that you will identify either through your children or your own childhood. But when we have children or we think about having children, we only think about the act of it and not the art of it. Yep. People think that parenthood is the same as parenting. It is not the same. It is easy to become a parent by the act of mating, conception, and birthing a child. But to parent that child means to nurture the child from childhood to adulthood. There's a quote that says, "Give me a child before they are 7, and I will show you the foundations of the man." We are going to get married. We go to church, we pray, we fast, we meet with counselors. They tell us all the good and bad. They give us the advice that we need. When we want money, we know the scriptures to quote. We know where to get the money. When we want new clothes, we just go to the boutique and get new clothes. But when we have children or we think about having children, we only think about the act of it and not the art of it. Yep. We think about, oh, I need to go and find some fine, tall, handsome man. And the lady has to be really special and beautiful. Now, the act will possibly last about 30 minutes maximum. And then it will take you 9 months from conception to gestation to birth. 9 months. Everything is in 9 months. That is the act of parenthood. Now, people think that parenthood is the same as parenting. It is not the same. It is easy to become a parent by the act of mating, conception, and birthing a child. But to parent that child means to nurture the child from childhood to adulthood. So you may not be the biological parent of a child, but you can be the parent of the child by virtue of you are the person raising that child. Teachers do that all the time. Sometimes our grandmothers do it. Aunties do that. They will tell you that a dad is somebody that, fathered a child. But a father is one that brings up that child. The Bible said in Proverbs 1 verse 8 that fathers instruct your children in the ways of the Lord, and mothers should teach. So it's a father's duty to instruct and a mother's duty to teach. So I was telling you about the act of parenthood. You can have a child in 9 months. Yeah. Now the real work begins. And parenting is a lifelong commitment. It's a lifelong, difficult commitment. You have to wake up every day and decide to be a parent. And unlike marriage, where you can say, I'm tired, I really can't do this anymore, let's go and get divorced. You cannot divorce your children. In fact, you're stuck with them until the day you go to heaven. Which means that you have to be really ready. And that brings me to times and seasons. Because the fact that you are ripe, the fact that you can reproduce does not mean that you are necessarily ready to be a parent. I have seen 70-year-old terrible parents and 20-year-old excellent parents. Because they were ready. Now let's talk about farming for a bit. If you put 2 seeds in the ground and you decide that the seed on my right, you allow the weather and the conditions of the world to take care of it. As and when it rains, fine. If it doesn't rain, well. And then the one on the left, you wake up in the morning, you water the ground, you remove all the weeds, you make sure that the sun is really shining on it. They will both grow. That's the truth. But this one that was neglected will be stunted. The other one will flourish. If that tree was supposed to grow for 6 feet, this one might grow up to 4. And even if this grew up to 4 and that one up to 4, they will bear different fruits. So we are all grown up. We are all in the same classroom, but some are trailing and others are excellent. Because somebody watered you every single day, made sure that you were okay. And God said, by their fruits ye shall know them. It takes me 5 minutes to know the kind of parenting a child has. So yeah, you can look good, you can pay all the school fees. In fact, you can buy your children private jet. But if that child exhibits some personality traits that aren't, they will ask, "Now why bunny?" That's why they do that. Whose child is this? Because the truth is, we can't serve 2 masters. You're either a good kid or you need improvement. I don't like to call kids bad because they can change. Now, if you love football so much, you probably know 4-4-2 and, yeah. When it comes to a child's life, there's what I call 5-2-5-5. The first 5 years, and then you add another 2 to get 7. Then you add another 5 to get 12. And then you add another 5 to get 17. And when they reach 18, it's only in Africa that you are 18 and you are still sleeping in your mother's house. Because by 18, you should be sent out. And the question to you as a prospective parent or as a parent is, will my child survive without me? Please ask that question to yourself. Most of us are raising children who are incompetent. They can't survive without you. You leave the room 2 minutes. Hey, I want my mommy. And you're happy. It's good that they're bonding with you, but you should let your child know that mommy is mortal. She might not be there every single day. Scientifically, they call that object permanence. You should know that your mother is there whether you can physically see her or not. And you should teach your children that. Because there are 7-year-olds who don't know how to use the toilet by themselves. Because you have 20 nannies and 7 babysitters. There are so many things that we can learn from God, but we don't. Before God made man, he made everything else. Which means before you produce a human being, make sure everything else is ready. Because imagine Adam and Eve came on the first day. What would they eat? Imagine they came on the third day, for instance. What will they be doing? So let your parenting and your parenthood, if you can, be the last thing you do, so that your children come into the world to a parent who is mentally ready, physically ready, financially ready, emotionally ready. Because sometimes so many parents are too stressed out to even be good to their children. Honestly, you are too busy to even be a parent. You are too busy. You can't multitask. You have to do one thing and then wait, finish, and then you do another thing. And you want babies. I said I took care of 18 children yesterday. And they are not my own. When the pandemic hit, parents wanted to donate their own children. Hey. Everywhere in the world, from India to Pakistan to Ghana to the US, every parent was complaining. And I'm thinking, but these are your own babies. They carry your DNA, which means whatever they are doing, you probably did it too. So if you are running from your own children, what about me? What do you think that I would do? So the problem is the children are perfect, because every good and perfect gift, where does it come from? God. And when he gives you a gift, when somebody gives you a gift, it's wrapped, it's in a little thing. You have to unwrap it, you have to see it. If I give you a diamond right now, you dig the deepest hole in your house to put it in. Make sure you check on it every day, blah, blah, blah. But when it's your children, you don't treat your children as gifts, and so instead of them becoming a blessing, you make it look like they are your burdens. And once you see them as a burden, you will get more of that. When you see them as a gift from God, now there are two definitions of gifts. Something that you get without having to compensate for it. You got it for free. God gave it to you for free. And he knew that you were capable of taking care of those gifts. That's why he didn't bring them to my house. And it's in your house. I always say that nobody could have been my mother but my mother. Because I'm too smart to not have a smart mother. Because I would have outsmarted her. But my mother was always 50 steps ahead. If you think I am wise, wait till you hear from my mother. So God knew you were capable. That's why he gave it to you. Now, there are two things that's happening. You are not diligent to do the work. You are too lazy. Seriously. Because where there is a will, there's a way. Yesterday, I could have decided to call all the parents one by one and say, you know what? I beg. Come for your money. In fact, I'll give you more. And come for your children. I could have done that because the teachers didn't show up. Why will I want to risk 18 children in my care? So the topic, I'm sure you've seen, is positive parenting. In raising children, in raising godly children who honor God and empower their generations. Now, the theme of what I'm going to talk about is, it is written. It is written. Please take notes if you can. When Jesus was in the wilderness fasting for 40 days and 40 nights, the devil tested him 3 times. And in all the 3, his mother wasn't there, his father wasn't there. It was just him and the devil. And this guy was telling him, if you are really the Son of God, change this stone into bread. And he replied, what did he say? It is written that man shall not live by bread alone. So in the absence of you as a parent or a to-be parent, your children need something to hold on to when you're not there. That's why I told you to ask yourself, will my children survive my absence? If I'm not there to tell them not to steal, will they? If you're not there to tell them not to insult people, will they insult them? If you're not there to wake them up in the morning to get ready for school, will they get up in the morning? If you've been in uni before, you know. Some of our roommates, they don't wake up until they are woken up. Because even at 17, the man will still come. Crazy. My mother has never woken me up before, but you will wake up. She will never say, hey, yes, Missy, you will wake up. She will just be in her house singing the song. You know the thing already. Just wake up. And that is called executive functioning skills, that your children are able to operate without you. So that when you go to driving school, the first 2 weeks you spend it in a classroom. The next 2 weeks they teach you how to drive the vehicle. And then the guy says, thank you very much. Here's where it ends. This is your certificate. Now go and kill yourself. Seriously, that's what they do to you. And then the trotro drivers will be insulting you. Hey, you too, hey. Until you become an experienced driver. That is how parenting is. That is how even children grow up. So the first 5 years I was telling you about is for you to teach them how to drive the vehicle. There's a quote that says, give me a child before they are 7 and I will show you the foundations of the man. If you want to see the future of a child, look at them from 0 to 7. If they are aggressive, you will meet an aggressive adult when he's 70. If they are calm, if they are humble, the fruit of the Spirit. We come to church, they tell us, and we think, okay, you just pray and say, oh God, fruit of the Spirit. No. It's a skill you have to pray to the Holy Spirit to help you get. It takes a lot to live at peace with people. It takes a lot to be joyful in the midst of the storm. But you have to teach your children that. There are so many parents who struggle with letting their children go through the emotions. It's okay for them to know that there are days where you can't get what you want, period. Okay, mommy, but why? It is written. I said to you, the devil tested Jesus 3 times. He said, man shall not live by bread alone, because that saying is in Deuteronomy, and Jesus knew that. So he used what was written to stay in line. Your children are only good when you are in the house. When you are leaving, your maid is like, God, please, I beg. But you have to leave them with godly principles that will be echoing in their heads until they die. To this day, whenever I try to do something, say, hey, it is written. Because Esau, if he knew that man shall not live by bread alone, wouldn't have sold his destiny to his brother for a pot of red stew. Really? If you know, the word will guide you. Because it is written. I can steal something, but it's written that do not steal. For lack of knowledge. So your children do things the way they do because they don't have any it is written anyway. Thy word have I hidden in my heart, so that I might not sin against thee. I want to sin. It is my nature to sin. But because I have your word in me, oh God, I can't sin. Right? Or I'll hold myself. Now, the second thing that the devil did was he took him to show him the kingdom and said to him, I'll give this to you if you bow down to me. And Jesus said to him, you shall worship no other God but me. Because again, he knew that it was written. His mom and dad weren't there. When Jesus was 12 and he went to the temples and he was sitting down and talking to people who had read the scrolls for 100 years, they marveled at him because he probably spent his childhood eating the word. And I tell you, if you ask me where a lot of the things that I know is written is in the Bible, I can't possibly quote the Bible verse for you. But I know that it's there. So when I'm sick, before I call the doctor, I say to myself, by his stripes, I am healed. Because I know it's written. And then the third one, look at what happened. The devil said, since you are the guy of all it is written, let me show you something. It is written, he said, throw yourself, because it is written that he will cause his angels to guard you and your foot will not hit. Even the devil knows what is written. Imagine you. So sometimes there are so many things that our children wish they didn't do, but you haven't given them anything to feed on. The reason why he wants to only watch cartoons is because that is all they've been fed. You cannot give what you don't have. You want me to be a good child. Why? The Bible is the manual that you need as a parent. When you buy a device, you can do two things. You can decide to just start charging and start using. But there are so many things on your phone that you don't even know it exists because you didn't read the manual. And then when the phone is faulty, you go give it to some guy in circle who probably can't even read to fix it for you. Maybe if you had gone back to the box, opened the manual, you could have done it yourself. So we are allowing the world to train our children. Because the truth with children is, you either brainwash them or other people will. They are a blank canvas. You can paint your picture or somebody else will paint their picture on it. Now, the beautiful thing about teaching your children to have godly principles is that if you say to your child, for instance, that culturally, if you give something with your left hand in Ghana, it's disrespectful. If you go elsewhere, they don't really care which hand, as long as you're giving. But godly principles like kindness, empathy, discipline is universal. Wherever you are in the world, it applies. So when I say that we should train our children up to be competent, I mean train them with the godly principles that will make them adapt to every situation. Yesterday, when the chaos was happening, I remembered that it was written that I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. And if I didn't know that, I would have called the parents to come for their children. I spent my entire childhood reading the book of Proverbs, not because I wanted to, but my mother will make me. In fact, the Bible should be the first book you buy for your children, especially those good news ones, the ones with the human beings that are looking like that. That's one. Basic English, the children can read. I'm telling you. And they've made all the Jesus quotes in red. It's important. I don't visit my friends much because I read in Proverbs that seldom visit your friends and they'll soon get tired of you and start avoiding you. And it's true. It is in the Bible. So that's why when your neighbors see you coming, they're like, hey, Akwawe was a baby. I am a beautiful woman. I know that. But I use my gifts to inspire people because I read in Proverbs again that as a ring in the mouth of a pig, so is a beautiful woman who lacks discretion. So if you're a beautiful woman who is not prudent, you do what you want, gallivanti, hey, this is me. It's like giving a gold ring to a pig. Where do you think it ends up? In the mud. Because I know that it is written. The reason why I work so hard is because I know it is written that whatsoever your hands finds to do. It said whatsoever. So whether you are sweeping, teaching, cooking, dancing, whatsoever your hands finds to do, do it with all your might and with all your heart and with all your strength. Because hell, aka the grave that we are going to, there's no planning, there's no work. So you can choose one. And then the same verse will tell you, there's another one that says, whatsoever your hands finds to do, do it with all your might. Be as if you are doing it for God, the one that rewards. So when you are parenting your children, it is one of the whatsoever your hands have found to do. So do it with all your... In fact, you have to do it so intentionally that people will say, yes. It is.